throughout time, we've had this concept as human beings of selling a portion of oneself, right? More modern term for it is selling out, but it's a thing we've done all throughout time. Women, men, sell their bodies. Some people are willing to sell their pride. Others are willing to sell their souls. And you have to ask yourself at a point, I think, in your life, you know, what would I sell one thing or another for? I don't think I would sell my soul for anything. I honestly don't. I don't think there's any worldly possession that I would willingly part with something that I can't even explain, yet I just kind of know is there in some form of concept. I would say that I think of the soul as the consciousness. We can't really explain where our consciousness comes from. That distinct personality that we all have. We can kind of explain how it formed in the way that it has. We could point to things in a person's, upbringing that would say that, well, this is kind of why they're probably more extroverted or whatever. But we can't really explain, like, when you're thinking to yourself in your head, who the fuck is talking to you? You know what I mean? And you'd go, well, I am. Uh-huh. And who are you? You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of a thing where you go, fuck. And as far as I know, I don't believe it's been explained by science where exactly it is that comes from. What exactly that is. I'm sure that there is a scientific explanation for it. And right now, my best scientific explanation, as far as I'm concerned, and you can feel free to disagree with me as you will, but nevertheless, it's just how I explain it so that it makes sense in my world. I think of it as the soul, right? And I have to believe in some sense or another, or at least I'd very much like to believe, that when my body has done and I'm dead and gone, that person who I'm talking to, when I'm talking to myself in my head, I'm hoping that person will live on in some form. I don't know what it is. They also say that energy cannot be destroyed. Our brains are powered by little electromagnetic sparks. You connect dots, however you like to connect dots. I like to weave my own fantasies. Yeah? So, I wouldn't sell my soul for no worldly possession would I sell my soul for. Absolutely not. Because I'm hoping that goes on in some way. And for my part, I think of my morality as that. I would never sell my morality. That, as far as I am concerned, would be selling my soul. Now, there's your religious connection. You can feel free to critique me with that as much as you want. But I consider the fact that I'm against baby death, murdering babies and whatnot, the fact that I'm kind of against that, I'm more than happy to attach to my consciousness in a moral way. So, tease all you like, I don't care. Nevertheless, so I wouldn't sell my morality for anything either. I just couldn't do it. But what links into your morality to you? Perhaps your body is a part of your morality and therefore not for sale. Right? There's kind of where it comes from, why we think of hookers as being immoral. Because, well, I attach my body to my morality. And I would never sell my morality. I would never sell my soul. So I would never sell my body. And there are other people who are like, man, work sucks. I love fucking. If I can get money for it, let's do it. And they're not really selling their body in a moral sense. They're doing it in a material sense because it doesn't matter to them morally to do something that they enjoy for monetary gain. Anything can be rationalized. Anything can be rationalized one way or another. I can understand both perspectives. I would love to be able to sell my body. I just can't. I'm an incel. Nobody wants me for cash. So, yeah. But I can't help, especially in this day and age, I can't help, we're finally getting to the point here. 6 minutes, that ain't bad. I can't help in this day and age but to feel that I have a strong attachment to my intellect in a moral sense. I don't think I could sell my intellect. We'll see. You never know. As people get, better and better at what they do, more opportunities arise. Right? So we'll see what happens. But I can't honestly put a price on my intelligence at this point. At one point in time, I would have said $5 million. I would do just about anything for $5 million because then it wouldn't matter. I could just not have to work anymore. And I already really don't like going out. So, doesn't matter to me. But, yeah, like, I could just sit at home and play video games and make YouTube videos all day, every day for the rest of my life. $5 million. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. And I'd just be like, I got paid $5 million, whatever. I'll still say the same stupid line over and over again. I'm contractually obligated, but what are you doing today? But I don't even think it's worth $5 million anymore. I don't even think it's worth Easy Street. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could sell my intelligence for any price. But I certainly couldn't sell my intelligence for any reasonable price. You know what I mean? Like, if you go to somebody who's hardcore, I wouldn't sell my body, and you ask them, well, how much would it take? They're going to throw out an unreasonable number because they're going to know nobody's going to hit that. You throw out $100, and everybody's going to go, well, fuck, I got $100. You know what I mean? See what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't sell it for any reasonable price. I also wouldn't sell it for an unreasonably low price. You know what I mean? It would have to be an unreasonable price that I would have to sell it for. And I would have to have the money up front. And then I would have to make a hard decision. Then me and the doctor would talk with the mother about whether or not we were decided to sell our intelligence. How about that? So it begs the question, as far as I'm concerned, how much money did this dude get paid? And how much would your intelligence cost?
You know him, you love him, he's...
All right, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says her Green New Deal will save the planet.
There's a reason that I titled my video the Super Duper Deluxe, Super Mega Deluxe Doomsday Scenario. I actually spent a good, I don't know, maybe 10-20 minutes texting back and forth with one of you guys about why it would be an ultimate doomsday scenario for the world. In my own little musings about it, in my own little thoughts. Yeah, there's a reason for it, God damn it.
In exchange, we just give up cars and airplanes and rebuild every structure in the United States. We'll also, by the way, need to invent brand new forms of energy that science hasn't conceived of yet.
It is a lot, when you think about it.
How much will this cost? That's unclear. How will we pay for it? Unknown.
I know. Deficit spending. Ugh.
Who will make this happen? Well, workers, obviously, though anyone who is, quote, unwilling to work will still get paid by the government.
I am unwilling to work if this passes. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.
In other words, not all of the details have been ironed out as of tonight, and that's why we're grateful that Robert Hockett is here. He's a law professor at Cornell. He's advising Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the Green New Deal, and he joins us. Professor, thanks very much for coming on.
Bob, you truly are a gift from the sweet baby Jesus, his little self. Thank you for being here.
So can I just ask the obvious question? Why would we ever pay people who are, quote, unwilling to work?
Cut to the quick, Tucker. You should have strung them on a little while before. I mean, fuck. They even waited a little while in the fucking paper to get to that shit.
We never would, right? And AOC has never said anything like that, right? I think you're referring to some sort of document that some doctored document that somebody other than us has been circulating.
Now look. When next this guy comes around to sell his intelligence again, if that even happens, what he's going to say here is, oh, you meant the one that she actually put out that said all of the things that you said. I thought we were talking about all of the hoax papers that everybody started making and posting online because it was a hysterical meme and a lot of people just have like free time on their hands. I thought we were talking about that. All of those things that still even just essentially said the same fucking thing that you said she said. Okay, well now we're on the same page, so now let's have brand new discussion because now we know what we're all talking about. And then he's going to pretend that this whole fucking travesty never happened, but no, dude. They're going to replay clips, you fucking dummy.
Oh, I thought that came right from her. That was in the background or from her office, is my understanding.
No. She's actually tweeted it out to laugh at it. If you look at her latest tweets, it seems that apparently some Republicans have put it out there. I don't know the details.
Good. Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Then thank you for correcting me. I mean, because it seemed a little ridiculous.
I'm not making any accusations. I calls it like I sees it. Dude looks a little wired. Maybe he's just nervous. Maybe he's just like that. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. He seems erratic. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe he's like that. But that nose wipe.
Almost as ridiculous as the idea that we're going to build enough light rail to make airplanes unnecessary, which I think actually is from the plan.
I don't know where you got that either, Tucker. I actually believe that you're actually on our side about this if you actually read the actual plan, right? There's nothing about getting rid of anything. It's about expanding menu options.
Tucker, I'm not falling for this "you're really on our side" thing. I'm not falling for it at all.
Right? I mean, there are many, many things we want to be able to do now in addition to what we already do. So where's the airplane disappearance coming from? I'm not really clear on where that originated.
Well,
allow me to show you.
If you can hear me, raise your hand.
And that is how we pay for it.
I could actually get it for you. This is
that would be great.
Frequently asked questions released by her office, and I'm quoting from it.
Yeah,
maybe this is fraudulent, in which case I hope you'll correct me. But it says that the Green New Deal would, and I'm quoting, totally overhaul transportation, and that would mean, quote, building out high-speed rail at a scale where air travel would stop becoming necessary. Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono responded to that by saying that would be hard for Hawaii. So I don't think that's made up.
Are you prepared to say on TV that the gentlewoman from Hawaii is a liar?
The senator from Hawaii.
But I mean, it apparently is being misunderstood, right? We're really talking about expanding optionality here. We're not talking about getting rid of anything, right? We're talking about basically making it cost effective to move into more modern forms of technology, more modern forms of production.
Fucking trains? You know, there's a reason why we have very, very few fucking trains. And we have a lot of trucks. And we have a lot of planes. Because they're both more modern.
Which would then enable people actually cost effectively to transition to that stuff. We're not talking about requiring anything or prohibiting anything. That sort of 1980s style environment.
Okay, but I don't...
But you're pimping 1880s technology. So we can't assume. Whatever.
Wait, but hold on. I don't want you to back away from what she herself has said. And all of this with the caveat that, you know, a lot of this won't happen, maybe none of it, but these are the ideas that she's articulating. She did so on NBC last week.
I promise you, Tucker, I won't back away from anything she said. Indeed, we're pushing forward. Right?
Then she said, well, yeah, at high speed.
yeah, very high speed.
I can see what traveling at that high speed has done to your hair.
To supplant all fossil fuels in 12 years.
Yes.
So,
well, yes.
Okay, so that would mean...
That doesn't mean stop, that doesn't mean prohibiting them. It means rendering them obsolete by doing something better. And we can do it. This is America.
Then
we can do anything.
I will agree. This is America. And we can do anything. But all the things that you're selling, we've done them. You're asking for more of it. Why do you think we don't already have more of it? We have it. If it's so goddamn fucking awesome, why isn't it the norm? It shouldn't take a whole lot of logic to figure it out. Go on.
It's nice to have a smart person on the show to explain this.
Well, thank you, Tucker.
What about air travel, which is critical to our economy? This is a continental country.
It stays the same.
If you like your planes, you can keep them.
Okay,
right?
but no, because that requires fossil fuel.
That might, we're talking about carbon neutrality, remember? We're talking about net zero emissions. That doesn't mean that there's never any burning of anything, right?
Yeah, we can still have, campfires, wood-burning stoves, all that modern technology.
I mean, until we come up with solar panel flying airplanes, of course, we're not
I'm sorry to...
All right. Thank you for pointing it out. We have solar panels. And we have planes that fly. So, what do you think the reason is why we don't have solar paneled flying planes? It's not like solar panels or planes, even ones that fly, is new. They're both quite old at this point. If it was any way that it was cost effective to have solar paneled flying planes, motherfucker, we'd have them. This is America, remember? And if it worked, we'd use it.
Interrupt you. I just want to correct. I just had, because this seemed like we were making news on this show, the unwilling to work thing was in her backgrounder. That has been absolutely confirmed. You're saying no.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I read it with my own eyes. This reminds me of the Hillary Clinton started the birther thing. This reminds me of this all over again. I was there. It was last week. I was there. It was last week. God damn it.
Okay, so
That's not
NBC and
part
lots of other news outlets are saying that was in the background, and you're saying it's fraudulent.
That's erroneous, right? Now, there might be new details now that you know about that I don't, because I've been doing media all day, but the story all day...
Yeah, I don't...
It was last week. I don't care about what story you're pimping today. I'm talking about last week.
I think that was actually in the document. I read it as it came out.
Well, it's the wrong document, Tucker.
Well, yeah, well, it's definitely the wrong.
Yeah,
it's definitely the wrong document.
That's not us. No, we certainly don't believe in anything like that, right?
We're not.
See how uncomfortable this motherfucker is. Like, it's uncomfortable for me to watch him. He's so uncomfortable. Because he knows that he's sold his intelligence. Because he knows none of this shit flies.
Not getting rid of fossil fuels, actually, even though you just said we were. Because
no, we're rendering them obsolete for most purposes they're used for now, right?
But air travel is a huge source, source.
Hence the word most before, right?
Okay.
We eliminate them for most purposes for which they're used
that would
now by
include
rendering them
cars. So
obsolete.
I've got 2 gasoline-powered cars at home.
Yes, but imagine how much better it's going to be when it's cost-effective to drive electric cars.
One of the things that they like to chuck out there all the time, because they think we're stupid. Well, we never really tried it. Right? That's the argument for socialism. Well, we've never really tried it. Yeah, because it doesn't work. It hasn't worked anywhere they ever have tried it. Why the fuck would we try it? And we know what the effects of it will be. We can use calculators and understand numbers. Those magical things. We don't need to try it. Because it'll break us. Why the fuck would we? Because it'll break us. Right? I've never tried setting my house on fire to keep me warm either. Right? But the thing that they're going to push with this horse shit is, well, we don't have the infrastructure for it, so it's not cost effective. Look, it isn't cost effective to drive electric cars. That's it. End of the statement. There's nothing else to it. There's no more caveats. There's no further explanation. It isn't cost effective to drive electric cars. They started putting them up. I remember when we got our first charging station in my town, and it's still there, and nobody uses it. You want to know why? Because it isn't cost effective to drive electric cars. Everybody that owned one at one point was like, man, I love my electric cars. And as soon as the hybrid came out, what do you think they did? They bought one. I don't even think they make fully electric cars anymore. They're all hybrid. You want to know why? It isn't cost effective to drive electric cars. But it is more cost effective in both directions to drive a hybrid. It's better than driving a gas car. It's better than driving an electric car. A melding of the two is fantastic. Each on their own, not so great. But one, far better than the other. It's a scale from best to shittiest. Hybrid, gas, electric car. They were shit. Nobody liked them. And it doesn't matter how far the charging stations were apart from each other. The cars sucked dick on their own. If there was a charging fucking station on every corner and you could link up as you waited on red lights, they would still be shittier cars. The technology isn't good. It isn't better. It has been proven. The data is in. No matter how much you want to try and say, all you have to do is just let us do this thing that will cost way too much money for no benefit ultimately, No. And don't throw the fucking wall in my face. You're an idiot if you do.
But that can't be done simply by individuals, right? You have to coordinate. You have to have charging stations everywhere. And of course, individuals can't do that, right? So in that sense, the government is acting like a kind of orchestra conductor here. We're trying to coordinate some of that stuff that can only be centrally coordinated and then enable everybody to act individually within that framework, right?
Yeah, that doesn't, I don't fully understand what you're saying, but let me just...
I think... I mean, it's so jumbled because he's so fucking, oh my god, I don't even know. He's so everywhere. I think that he was trying to make the point that I tried to preemptively make. I don't know. At one point it made sense to me. And that time it just really fucking didn't. I'm sorry.
I mean, on the low end, this would be the most expensive thing that the United States has ever undertaken, including rural electrification, the Second World War. And I'm just kind of wondering, in a country that's got more debt than it has GDP, how would we pay for that?
Well, here's the key, right? Remember that we racked up enormous debt to finance the Second World War effort and the New Deal and, of course, the interstate highway system in the 50s.
I don't think that anybody can argue that the Second World War wasn't worth the money. I don't think anybody can argue that the fucking electrification of the rural areas wasn't worth the money. It's nice to sit in the light when it's 8:30 at night, right? I don't think anybody can argue that the highway system was a damn fine idea for the money. We tried to make electric cars. There were companies that tried to make electric cars. And there were companies that tried to put charging stations up for those electric cars. And nobody used the charging stations because nobody bought the electric cars. And the people that did buy the electric cars thought they were shit. So we've tried it in a very small sampling. It failed. Why the fuck do you think it would work on the large scale? Force.
But here's the key point. Here's a takeaway. I want you to remember this. I hope everybody will remember this. Remember that inflation is a relation, right? It's the relation between the quantity of money and the quantity of goods.
And if you just pay people money and they don't need to work anymore, they're not going to work. And if you pay people money, but it isn't so much money that they would still need to work to supplement their income to sustain their livelihood, well, you're now going to have to pay them a far higher rate than you normally would have to. Funny thing about that is that that cost goes into the product, right? Because like when you buy the burger from McDonald's, I know it's only $1.25, but you have to understand something. It costs them a grand total of 6 cents to make that thing in its entirety, and that is including storing it, shipping it, freezing it, the wage of the kid that had to cook it for that minute that he had to cook it, the wage of the kid that had to fucking give it to the customer for the 3 seconds that he had to transfer it to the customer. All of that cost, down to those percentages of pennies, goes into the cost of the burger. You think raising wages isn't going to raise the price of the burger? I noticed 2 or 3 weeks ago that the price of the dollar cheeseburger is now $1.25. Just happened out of nowhere. Economy's been doing pretty damn good, right?
Now, if the money that you're spending is resulting in the production of a great many more goods, you have no inflation problem. More production absorbs more expenditure. The problem with the $7 trillion that was spent during the Bush years and, of course, the last tax cut was that it wasn't actually productive. But note that even that didn't bring about inflation.
I'm going to have to let the Bush criticism slide because I wasn't paying attention to shit this much back then. But the Trump tax cuts, to say that they had no benefit, where the fuck do you think the booming economy came from? Right? You remember how I was explaining a second ago? I was explaining inflation to you, right? Please allow me to interrupt your explanation of inflation for me to explain inflation to you, right? So when Donald Trump gave a shit ton of money to companies, right? All those companies said, well, we can lower prices, or we can keep prices right where the fuck they are, and just hire shit tons more people to buy more shit. That'll get more consumers up out of the fucking bottom part of society. We'll bring more people up by giving them more money. And then we'll have so many more people that will be able to buy so much more of our stuff because we employ them, that we'll be able to raise prices because we'll have a lot more money than we'll have supplies of stuff. It's actually in corporations' benefit to hire more people and pay more people more money, because then they can turn around and raise prices, offset the balance of hiring people, and make more money. It's how business works too. I don't know. You represent an economics major. Maybe you should ask her. She'll explain it to you.
Okay, but we're still not getting close to it. And by the way, I'm just getting all this in my ear, and we're actually going to follow up on this next week.
Okay.
That unwilling to work line, which you're obviously embarrassed about, and you should be, of course.
No, I'm not embarrassed.
That
It's just
was
not
in
us.
the document.
It's not embarrassing. No, Tucker. No, Tucker. No. We're not embarrassed by what's not ours. No, Tucker. We're not embarrassed by what's not ours. Okay.
It's starting to get sad. Like, what is probably the weakest defense for you did something dumb or you did something bad? Well, that wasn't me. I'm starting to hear a lot of politicians these days saying it wasn't me. It's a really bad lie to begin with. You guys are politicians. You should be able to lie better than that. What the fuck?
Well, we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Yes, we are.
We're going to prove it one way or the other, and I hope you will come back.
I will.
Professor, thank you.
Thanks so much.
I'm glad. I'm always grateful when people on the other side come on, including you. Thank you.
No fucking way in hell that dude comes back on Tucker's show. No way in hell. If he does, I can't attribute it to balls. I have to attribute it to the fact that not only was he willing to sell his intelligence once, he was willing to do it twice. That's what I'm talking about. How much would you charge to be that man in that seat for that interview? Donald Trump doesn't have enough money to get me to do that. Fuck no.